It doesn't work.
So you can, oh yeah, you can hear me. Привет, hello. My name is Krzysztof Raś. Thank you, Slava, for introduction. First of all, I'd like to thank you for being here. It's really a pleasure to share my experience today with you on a topic that is really close to my research and to my heart. But before we move on, I'd like to tell you more about. I would like to give a little bit of a context to you so that you understand better. So why am I here? I want to share with you my experience with building high-performance teams based on corporate winning culture. This is extremely important when it comes to true high performance. As Slava mentioned, I came from Krakow today, actually yesterday. And you need to understand what the local market is. Because of some historic legends about the dragons and stuff like that, we believe that there was a dragon once in Krakow. We used to call Krakow right now a Dragon Valley, which is obvious connection to the Silicon Valley. This is because of the great number of companies that are present there. There are many startups on one hand. It's a really entrepreneurship place to be. On the other hand, there are big companies. Just to mention, I know, Motorola, Sabre Holdings, or even those that you probably recognize, such as EPAM or Luxoft. And they hire a lot of people. So it's very easy to change a job in Krakow. There's a constant war for talent. It's very hard to attract people to come to your company. It's very hard to retain them. What is really handy in this case is the corporate culture that I will be speaking about as a key differentiator from your competitors. And I will be speaking on the Grid Dynamics case. This is the company that was launched in Krakow early this year in February, and I have a privilege and honor to lead this company. To give you more flavor about Grid Dynamics, this is a Silicon Valley-based company founded in 2006, but it is founded by Russians. I mean, by immigrants from USSR. They migrated to the States in the 70s, graduated at the local universities, and started to pursue their American dream. They went there with nothing, but after many years, they founded different companies, and Grid Dynamics is the most successful of those. Let me just get on stage so that I can see the clock. This company decided to start operations in Poland. Already, Grid Dynamics has 5 offices, obviously Silicon Valley, 2 in Russia, St. Petersburg and Saratov, and 1 in Kharkov, Ukraine. This year, we started operations in Poland, and we were known to no one. The brand was nothing. Still, however, in this very competitive market, in the market where you actually, as a programmer, or basically as an engineer, you get free phone calls from recruiters, from headhunters, almost every day. It's kind of hard to attract people to come to the company that is nothing known about. So this is why I'm here. This is why I want to share my experience with that, how we did that, and what is our differentiator that you can apply at your organizations, at your companies, at your projects. I know it's very close to launch, so let's move the blood in our system a little bit. So I would like to ask you a question. Those of you who work in any type of a project that is led by any team, please stand up for a second. Stand up, yes. If you work in a project, please stand up. And keep standing. All right, so just look around. Most of you are not freelancers. Most of you work in some kind of a project. Please sit down, thank you very much. I do understand that in a project, in any type of a team, organization, program, department, there's such thing as a culture that I will be speaking about. I can't really tell you if this is a good news or bad news, but I will not give you step-by-step instructions how to make your teams performing better. Culture is not like engineering binary 0-1 stuff. This is not a prescription that you can apply and you see the results tomorrow. No, this is a process. It takes time, and the most difficult part is that it is really hard to define what that even is. It's hard to improve it overnight. However, I will still share my experience and some general thoughts so that you can think about it, maybe to implement it in your at your companies. Over past 10 years, we've been given with a lot of tools, processes, frameworks that help to improve the performance of any type of a team, especially in the IT. What I mean is Lean, Agile, Scrum, Kanban, whatever. Do they really work? Well, they do. Obviously, they do. Almost everyone, every IT company is developing their projects using Scrum or other Lean or Agile methodology. It's good. It gives you results. It also brings you joy to the engineer life. I used to be a programmer by myself, and I wanted to be a member of a Scrum team. I grew up in the times of waterfall, and I welcome Scrum greatly. But don't forget, this is a tool only. This is a process, a tool, a framework only. Culture is more complex because it's about humans and human behaviors. So yeah, tools are important. Scrum really works. All the Lean, Agile methodologies, they work. However, these are tools only. And I've seen some attempts, some tries to implement Scrum only because everyone else was doing that. It doesn't work that way. You need to think. You need to really think if you need that. I used to work for a large company that was introducing Scrum because everyone else was doing that, and they wanted to have it to attract people because people would be eventually leaving this company. And they did it wrong. They artificially made everyone doing Scrum without any thought to that. Let me give you a more precise example. At Grid Dynamics, we have a small R&D team of 4 people. They have a backlog identified. They work on that. They do their research, and I'm acting kind of like a delivery manager for this project, for this small project. And I told them, guys, I don't really care what type of process you will have. I want to see results. In a week, in a month from now, we're gonna meet, and I'm going to discuss the results. Basically, what I'm saying, I have given them a free will to decide. They could go with Kanban, they could go with Scrum, whatever they liked. And what they did? They chose this and that from Scrum, this and that from Kanban, and about that they completely forgotten. I mean, they have rejected it. For example, let me be more specific. Daily stand-ups. It's cool, kind of everyone likes that. You can meet other guys, you can speak for a couple of minutes, answer 3 basic questions. Do they do it? No. Why not? Because they are in one room. They're physically located in one room. They're isolated from the rest of the company, from the office. They have no distractions. There's no reason to have a daily stand-up because the ideas are being thrown over the monitor as they code. They just talk to each other all the time. There's no point in having daily stand-ups. However, Scrum tells you should have daily stand-up. But they have decided, this is a key word, they have decided not to have it. On the other hand, they still have demos, they still have retrospectives, although combined, which Scrum also doesn't advise us, but still they have chosen the best practices that work for them, and this is the responsibility and the freedom to choose. What the culture is. While there's a universal agreement that it exists, yet it's kind of hard to define that. But I will try to give you some taste what the corporate organizational culture is. Some quotations. I will not repeat those. I will use some analogy so that you can feel it better. Actually, I like the first one. Culture is how organizations, projects, teams do things, just the way they do things. Very general, but actually very, very, I would say, accurate. The analogy I like is that it's like a magnetic field. It's invisible, but still it aligns all those tiny little pieces of metal in a shape that is that makes sense. And the same is with your organization. The culture aligns the team in a way that they behave in a productive way, in some kind of a design. The second analogy I like is that this is like an immune system. It prevents from wrong thinking to get from the outside of the organization into your organization. It sets some standards. It sets some behaviors. So during the interview, you are able to have one more factor to think about this cultural fit, and I will be speaking about it later as well. But again, this is like an immune system. Once you are in, you are being assimilated to the company culture. You just become one of the team of the organization, and you prevent other who think or act in a different way from getting to the organization. The more I would say scientific definition is here. This is the system. I mean, the culture is a system of shared beliefs, what is true, of shared values, what is important, and of shared norms, what is right. And all of it orients the team members in a way that things are getting done in the company. Also, what expectations that they need to fit in, and what they can expect and demand from the others. This is from Wikipedia. Two more, but let's forget about it for a while. Is it really so? Is it really true? Well, it is. It is. Why company culture, why organizational culture is important in the business? I will tell you why. It is so because it gives you the leverage. It gives you advantage that you don't have if you have a low corporate culture. First of all, why is that? If you have a strong corporate culture on the level of your organization or even a project, there's no need for many rules. There's no need for heavy process. People act in an entrepreneurial way. And only being an entrepreneur, you can be innovative. In such an environment, people are not afraid to fail. And actually, they fail quickly, but they recover, they learn from their mistakes. And this is the only way innovation can be sparked. I mean, innovation can happen. Because without that, you just repeat what you know. And if you're afraid to fail, you better not say something, because you either be laughed, or either you're gonna be called, not intelligent, stuff like that. So if you have this culture of trust, that you are not afraid to speak freely, even if you might sound crazy, this still works, because this is the only way to make the creativity happen and innovation happen. All of I said is very general, but let me be more specific now. So, in past decade, there was a survey, a research made by Bain & Company. This is a consulting firm from Boston. They have interviewed over 200 CEOs and other C-level guys all across the globe. And this is the result of the survey. 68% of top leaders believe that culture is the competitive advantage. 76 believe that you can't change it, and 65 believe that they need to change it. But only fewer than 10% actually succeed in building a high-performance culture or a winning culture. So not everyone, but most of the people, most of the top leaders believe that this is important. This is really your advantage. However, only a few succeed in building one. Let's move on. So how do you actually build a winning culture? First of all, I believe it is a universal truth for every aspect in your life. You need to think. Think what are your unique values? What is your purpose? Why you are doing this? So every company, every organization has its heart and soul. There are no two same companies in the world, even if they do similar things. Like, I don't know, AMD and Intel. They do semiconductors. They produce semiconductors, processors, and stuff like that. However, they are different. Both are in IT and hardware. However, they are different. And I could give you more examples than that, but this is obvious. So every company that you ever worked, every company has its unique personality and soul. It defines what you are and what you value. So basically, it all comes from the mission of the company. You need to ask yourself a question: why we are doing this? And once you understand it, and once the people in your organization understand that, they have a sense of purpose, a kind of a purpose. So let me again ask you a question. You don't need to stand up. Just raise your hand. What is your company mission? Do you know it? I see. Okay, thank you. I see some hands. This is good. Usually, we don't know. We just go to work, do our stuff, get paid. Everything is fine, and this is fine. However, for a truly winning culture in the organization, you need. I mean, not you, but the organization needs to understand its mission. And it can't be artificial. It can't be like, posted on the wall, because you could actually post your mission on the wall, on a desk, and this would not work. Let me give you a real life experience. When I was starting my career more than 10 years ago, I used to work for at the time, local company in Krakow. And those things like mission, vision, and strategy it was about to be born in Poland, basically at the time. Right now, it's obvious. Everyone has this. But in those days, it was like a new. So the owner of the company said, all right, we need to have a mission. So they just created some. And what they did, they asked their IT admin, their IT guys, to artificially tweak every single workstation we had in the company, so that mine wallpaper was gone. I had some new some nice mountains view, and a mountain lake. It was gone. Instead of it, there was a mission statement on my screen, which made me so angry. I wanted my picture back. I didn't even read this, most likely, because it was done artificially. It was done in a kind of a brute force. We didn't like it at all. So it's not the way you do it. You need to be the ambassador of your values and of your culture. So let's start with this mission, with this vision you have, and with the mission. Once you have it, you may think about values in your company. Values are those principles that you act accordingly. That you agree with, that help you to make right decisions. And if it is shared in the team, in the organization, you have a solid background to implement those six high-performing behaviors. But before we go there, let me tell you what's more. You need to also be. I told you that you need to be an ambassador of the values that you have. But it works much better if you, by being strong in what you believe, you kind of influence others in your team, and they also become your ambassadors. So after some time, everyone is doing this unconsciously, and now without any thinking. Because of course you can do it by yourself, but the impact is much stronger if people actually follow you and do the same. Last but not least, how to do it is to hire for a cultural fit. It's adapted from American Southwest Airlines, a very innovative company in the aviation industry. They came up with an idea: hire for attitude, not for skill. Skills can be trained easily. You can put a guy to a training, and everyone can, maybe not everyone, but after some time, a guy understands the principles of programming in Java or whatever. What you can't train is the attitude, is the culture actually. So the strongest advice is pay attention to that while you are recruiting. Once you have it, you may enforce those six winning behaviors. The most important part is think like owners. This is very entrepreneurial, but you need to once you have it, once you have it, you are on the way to a success. Why is that? You would not hurt your own child, would you? I don't think so. If you have created something, a piece of the design, a piece of code, a product, and you are the father or a mother of that, you want the best for it. Same with the company, with anything you do. If you have this mindset, you will protect it and you will act only for its good. So what does it mean? It means that let the people choose, let them make decisions, make them empower them to make those decisions. Let them fail, but let them learn as well. But let them feel that they are the owner of a project or whatever it is. External focus. Next, very important behavior. Companies. I used to work in different companies, and sometimes we were much more involved in some internal politics, internal games, internal turf, as we call it. This does not help you to build a winning culture. If you are focused only, whom to speak with, what should I do to promote myself, this will not bring you to the next level and your company. You will be just, on average level. But if you think about your customers first, this is obvious. Think about customers, but it's not about only customers. It's about the impact on the outside world that you do. For example, you may invest into local community. You may give some free classes to the kids, whatever you call it. But this also builds your brand, and this also makes you the company. I mean, this unique company. High aspirations and a desire to win. This is kind of obvious. Of course, you need to have people that are not just regular guys that come to your company and to collect the paycheck. This is really connected to passion and energy. This is what I've been looking during the interviews with the team. Right now, there's 25 people working in Good Dynamics Poland, and I have hired all of them. But I was looking for passion. I have rejected kind of smart guys. They were really cool programmers in technology I needed. But when I was missing this passion, I said, well, you will be here from 9 to 5 and then you are gone. I need someone who comes to the office when it's needed, stays as long as needed, and actually drives things. I need this passion. So the team I have right now is truly passionate, and I trust them. I'm here for a couple of days in Russia, and I have no fear that when I'm back next week, everything will be in perfect order. Or maybe not, but definitely I still trust them. Individuals who team, of course, this is a teamwork, team effort. So you need to also pay attention to that. Bias to action. Last but not least, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than for a permission. So I empower the team. Make your calls, make your decisions, and if you are wrong, just correct it, fix that, and we will go on. So Yeah, famous recruitment meme. Again, those days, people are being headhunted very, very, very much. And recruiters are only thinking about placements, just to close the position, so that they collect their bonus or whatever. But I encourage you to pay extra attention for this missing bit, for this missing piece of puzzle, this cultural fit. This is yet another factor during the interview, but don't forget about it. So, just for a good start, again, you can read about it all by yourself, but just 3 takeaways when you're back next week to your company, to your organizations. 3 takeaways to think of. Define the standards. Of course, if you're not the head of the company, it will be difficult for you. But define the standards in your project, in your team, in your group, whatever you operate in. Demonstrate those standards. You can't say, from now on, we will be very honest and open in communication. This is fine, but this is you who need to show it and demonstrate it by yourself. Once you demonstrate it, you will be followed by the others. So define, demonstrate, and demand. What are the questions? That's all. Thank you very much. What are the questions that you have?
Thank you, Krzysztof. Давайте поблагодарим докладчика.
Thank you.
И у нас есть 10 минут на вопрос, пожалуйста. Дюшка.
Thank you. So you mentioned that actually culture cannot be trained. Means
That's
that
right.
if you have a team, this culture is not that great, there's no way. You have to fire them and hire those who...
No, I wouldn't say that you have to fire them. Obviously, if someone is completely not a match, well, maybe this is the way to go. Still, you can define some standards, demonstrate them, and try to implement them. And after some time, you may demand them as a step 3. Of course, it's much more difficult to change the culture in an existing organization. I showed you that only 10%, even less than that, succeed. It's easier if you build something from scratch. Like I had this privilege to build Grid Dynamics in Poland. So I was very picky from the very beginning, and it was much easier. But yeah, I agree with you. It's much difficult to do it in an existing organization.
Еще вопрос, пожалуйста. Есть желающие? Пожалуйста.
Yeah, thank you for the talk. So you said that actually a person can have skills and it can has attitude, right? And you said that attitude can be more important than skills.
Right.
And we had a lot of people were trained to skills. Mm-hmm. Do you actually suggest that maybe they should be trained to attitude too? And how would you suggest doing that?
I don't think you can train for attitude. If you have an external candidate to your company, you know it already. If a guy or a girl, a lady, has for example, a passion, well, recruitment is a selling time for a candidate. One presents you, from the best perspective one can. But to answer your question, I do not really think that you may be trained for attitude. This is very, very personal. This is who you are. But this is, there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone has to be very, passionate about something. Maybe someone's passionate about, let's say, cooking, for example, or maybe Thai cuisine. I don't know. This is fine. But I'm speaking about your very organization. So for your organization, hire those who are, who are a cultural fit to your team.
Да, Андрей.
Thank you for lecture. It was interesting.
Андрей, не работает.
Не работает? Ну, давай. But I beg your pardon, but I consider these like slogans. Mm-hmm. Everything is good. Please give us several examples of the first, the second, the third.
All right.
Some real examples from your company, maybe. Something like that. Otherwise, it's a little bit too abstract.
It is abstract because we are speaking about humans and everyone's different. So again, I told you this is not like engineering. But yes, I can give you some more solid examples. First of all is the trust. I empower the team to make the decisions. You know, right now there's 25 of us, and and there are a couple of teams in the organizations already, 4 to be precise. The structure is flat. There are no PMs. There are no project managers. There's no need for that. The team is accountable, is responsible for what they do and for what they deliver. Again, I think that an average or random mature person who spent some time on this world already knows best how to do his or her job. I could hire a PM who would be standing over them and say and asking questions. What's your progress? Okay, here's the deadline. You need to hurry up. I don't need to do it. I believe that they know the best how to do their job. I used to be a programmer once, but you know, I hire smarter guys than myself. I don't need anyone like me. I need someone who's smarter than me, who will do the job, and I only need to trust him or her. To be precise, trust, empowerment. They are not afraid to fail. They know that I won't fire them even if they screw up, unless they screw up like a lot. The trust is there. What else? I would say envision. So I'm sharing the vision with the team. Where we go, what is the strategy, so that everyone feels like there's a purpose. That that today they are on project A, but tomorrow, but in some time they will be on some other projects, and they understand where we are going as a company. So it also makes them feel like it's like a family kind of. I would say we know what we do and we know where we want to go. Does it answer your question, Andrew? Thank you.
Krzysztof, I have a question. Do you have any specific techniques which you use during interviewing people for your company in order to understand if this people, if this particular person, will fit the culture of your company?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's a very good one indeed. Well, yes and no. Let me tell you what are the business standards, what are the techniques that I've learned about it. I don't use them, but I've learned that this is like it's like a first date. You kind of already after a couple of minutes if it's going to work or not. You just feel it. I've read that some CEOs use the airport technique. The airport technique means like I guess that the winters here in Moscow are pretty tough. So and you've got blizzards and snow. I believe a lot. So ask yourself a question: would I like to be stuck in the airport with this guy that applies to my company for many reasons? For many hours when our flight is delayed. Would I really want to get stuck in the airport for many hours with this guy? If the answer is no, don't hire a guy. This will not work, because ultimately you will need to speak to him for many hours in your future corporate life. So if this is not a match from the very beginning, just don't do it. And myself, I don't ask myself this airport question, but just talking to a candidate, I'm trying to look for this passion that I mentioned, and this is a fit for me. I ask a person a question: what is important for you, or why have you come here? If someone tells me, I need to change a job, I'm interested in more money, this will not work. But when I hear someone saying, I want to build something from scratch with you, this is a match for me.
Do you think that people say during the interview what they really think?
Yes, good question. And of course, they don't. Yes, you are right. This is a selling point. They try to sell themselves. You are right, yeah. But still, you can sell yourself in a good way or in a bad way. So even if this is maybe not completely the truth, but if someone tells me, I really want to do it with you, that's a match. I can see some questions.
Yeah, еще, пожалуйста.
Is your process scalable?
What do you mean, scalable?
Not 25, but 250 people.
This is one of the challenges. Yes, you are right. It is scalable, but it's difficult. But if you have solid base, solid foundations, it's doable. If you do it wrong from the beginning, it's much harder or even impossible to do it later. It's like launching the rocket to the orbit. If you calculate the trajectory bad from the very beginning, you will not ever make it. You will be further and further from your target. So the good start is the most important one.
Так, пожалуйста, вопрос.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for your visit to Moscow.
Thank you. Thank you for the
and
invitation.
for your talk. Sure. I think that our small teams where I collaborate have quite a good corporate culture. But it seems to me that it is difficult to scale these practices up to more complex structures, I mean organizational structures. How can we cope with this challenge?
Start with your own team. Start with your own, I don't know how many people you have on your team, but start with that. And once you do a good job, and once you establish some standards, some principles, other teams may or may not, but I truly believe that they may see it, and they will also follow you. I mean, they will adapt somehow. Maybe they will not be the same as you, but at least they will choose something. And I truly believe that a winning culture with a trust in your team and empowerment is attractive to the people in general, because most of us want to be independent, want to make decisions. Most of us, I'm saying, not everyone. So this will scale to the rest of the organization. Over time, it won't happen overnight. It will take some time, but this is where you actually can start from your very team.
Так, и последний вопрос. Вот давайте. У нас уже время на один вопрос.
So people's attitude may change over time because
Yes.
of different priorities, family, other things. And how often do you have to fire people?
Thank you for this question. I was lucky in my life. I have never ever fired anyone. At Grid Dynamics, this is only 10 months in Krakow right now. Fortunately, I had no chance to fire anyone. There was one time in my life that I had to not to prolong the contract agreement. So I didn't fire someone directly, but I said, well, the feedback is poor, and it was not because of the culture, it was because of the performance. The feedback is poor. I will not prolong the contract with you. So only one time.
Спасибо. Давайте еще раз поблагодарим докладчика.
Спасибо. Thank you very much.